Video of the day. Hello, this is Takeshi here. And yes, it is that time of that month again. This time, I'll be unveiling the upcoming light novel releases for Kadokawa Sneaker Bunko for July 1, 2023. Most of these novels are interesting and highly recommended, so do check it out. And with that, let's start the month's lineup. Kicking off the lineup is the ongoing reverse modern isekai Iroge no Heroine wa Neteru Otoko ni Tensei Shitaga, or wa Zetai ni Neteranai, or the English title, reincarnated as an antagonist in NTR game, decide to do nothing, Yandere heroine still coming for him anyway, Volume 2 by Mayan. Illustrated by Minori Chigusa. This novel was interestingly great to pick up, if you stayed for the NTRs and the isekai, because as interesting as Volume 1 before, Volume 2 was as the same level as that because they're much more fluff, more NTR romance and melodrama for a tease. Perfect for new readers who never read NTR genres. Next is the ongoing fantasy novel, Ji Yapere Amori no Hoshi, Zunda ni Oidio, or the English title, Japere Amori Star. Welcome to Zunda, Volume 2 by Kagemishi Sasaki, illustrated by Kitsune Fuku. First of all, I liked how this story went from a slow fantasy story to a traveling around the Raigon story, which simply I was intrigued when the first volume came out last year. Other than that, one thing I would like to precisely speaking on this novel, is that even though it's interesting, it has captured much of my attention yet. So expecting something more from the author itself. Do check it out if interested. Up next is the ongoing romance novel, or Ni Dake Tsumatai Tamori-san Ni Yura Aka Shidoru to Itara, or the English title, What If I Tell Tamori-san, Who Is Cold Only to Me, That He Knows the Secret? Volume 2 by Meo Chiki. Author Asano Hajime, illustrated by Kaga Chisaku. When speaking of Asano-sensei, many would know that it came from Meo Chiki, but when it comes to Tamori-san, I completely get interested as it changed the whole element of Meo Chiki into something new, something different but still an interesting, yet great novel to look out for. Would really hoping for a manga adaptation if this maintain its success. Next is the ongoing harem novel story, Zetai ni or wa Hitorajime Shirtai 6 Nin no Main Heroine Season 2, GNI Fura Reru no Wakimaida, or the English title, 6 Main Heroines Who Absolutely Want to Monopolize Me Season 2. The next one to be shaken is You, by Tomoha Ishida. Illustrated by Hitsuki Higure. This novel from the first volume, mentioned before, is an all-out harem war novel story, which kinda of really good if you do stayed for the war, minus the fetishness. I do also kinda like how it really just headed to the beach story. Similar with many novels done before. Really worth it to check it out. Up next is the ongoing romance novel, or Ni Dake Tsumatai Tamori-san Ni Yura Aka Shidoru to Itara, or the English title, What If I Tell Tamori-san, Who Is Cold Only to Me, That He Knows the Secret? Volume 2 by Meo Chiki. Author Asano Hajime, illustrated by Kaga Chisaku. When speaking of Asano-sensei, many would know that it came from Meo Chiki, but when it comes to Tamori-san, I completely get interested as it changed the whole element of Meo Chiki into something new, something different but still an interesting, yet great novel to look out for. Would really hoping for a manga adaptation if this maintain its success. Next is the ongoing romance novel, Matching Wapuri de Moto Koibito to Saikai Shita, or the English title, I Reunited with My Ex-Girlfriend on a Dating App, Volume 3 by Nanashir Maru, illustrated by Eru Aquino. Despite the fan translation had a major mistake on the translation, it's still a good story to pick up for. Other that, the story sets a date from the previous volume, something that the romance was somewhat either too quick to bloom or this is just some fail attempt. Either way, I expect to see something unfolds when it came out soon. And finally, wrapping up the lineup, is the revised novel series, Jido Hanbaiki ni Amarekawata or Wa Maikyu wa Samyu, new edition or the English title, Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon, by Hirokuma, illustrated by Itsuwa Kato. This novel is an amazing Rising Isekai series, although the title is quite absurd, but still has the quality to keep readers entertaining just only a vending machine. Although the series is just 3 volumes, as of writing. I wish that Hirokuma-sensei would continue to keep writing fascinating stories, as I really need more like this from the author itself. Highly recommended. Now, let's look at what are other titles that will be out on June and July. We'll start with HJ Bunko. First in the lineup is the ongoing isekai story Moto Sekai Saikyona Kamuen, Kiken Yusha, Shinjin Bokensha to Isho Ni Isekai o Seiho Suru Kodo Ni Naramashita Volume 2 by Subashiken. Illustrated by Kikeki. This novel by far just an average civil servant to transported himself to the fantasy world, which some various novels have done it before, yet still quite enjoyable to read for. Although I would not say the harems in it was bad, it was still by a mere average. In terms of story, still, was a good read, as stated. Worth to check out if interested. Next, is the ongoing time travel novel story, Hibarakuin no Tsuyakyut Seizien New Game, or the English title, Hibarakuin Strong and Youthful New Game, Volume 5 by Amamiya Kazuki, illustrated by Jin. This novel overall, was intrigued for me as it has the Bokudachi no Remake vibes. Other than that, it really has deep romance, which the new volume currently states, from character to another, they're always something to tell on based on confession. Really can't wait to see what happens next when it releases tomorrow. Next in the list, is the ongoing romance story, Seijo no Osawa Takan no Hanadarakina Maiman Koda, Gakuin Ichi no Ojusama, Saikatsu Nurioku Kaimu, wa Kaganagara Osawa Suru Kodo Ni Naramashita, or simply titled, Takan no Hana, by Sakaishi Yusaku, illustrated by Miwabe Sakura. I really adore this novel since the first of its release 2 years ago, and it has fluffiness of a romance. Furthermore, the story has now expands to more characters getting some attention, which getting me impressed to read even more deep. However, I do want to expect some romance to bloom, but now only drama still brewing. Overall, a good novel to pick up. Recommended. And lastly in the lineup, is the longest popular novel series, Rokujoma no Shinryakusha, or the English titled, Invaders of the Sixth Atami Mat Room, Volume 43 by Takeshi, illustrated by Poco. Straight from my opinion, I'd say this is indeed the longest novel. Yet with no ending in sight, the first longest novel was Gwyn Saga. Also, I saw the harems in there are a lot more wholesome, something I saw too often in many novels. Sadly, there's no continuation update on the anime adaptation. Something fans of the readers would really wanted to see from. Overall, really recommended for new readers who wanted to experience harems in a tatami room. And finally wrapping up the video, here are other titles that will be out of the second week of July, namely, Seihoja Nakata Node, Ukyuda Nanbairai Gohan with Tsukuru Kodo Ni Shimashita, Volume 9, Fushur Tanti Rado Momiji Volume 1, Kuinta no Kiss wa Mishitsuda. Yuri novel, Ana Doshur to Ka Arianai Daho to Iharu Ana no Ko wa, Hyakuniki Kandatetia Tiki Ni Otosu Yuri no Ohanashi, Volume 7 and Ryuu no Ashigoto Volume 18. Pre-order one of your favorites today. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to the channel for more interesting light novels updates coming soon. Until then, goodbye.